Subscribe to Man Told for more stories. Now let's begin this one. I planned an anniversary gift for my wife. But that night, she booked a hotel room for two. And the man she chose was my best friend. Even now, I can't believe those words came from me. But that day, the truth stared back at me. Cold. Undeniable. Right there, on my phone screen. I was sitting in the car, rain pouring down. 2 plane tickets to Hawaii in my hand. I'd planned it for months. Kelly, my wife, would never see it coming. I pictured her face lighting up. When I surprised her with the trip, I thought, after all our years together, this would be our new beginning. But then, my phone buzzed. An email. Hotel reservation confirmed. Under the name, Kelly Ellis. Date, our anniversary. Luxury suite. For 2 guests. The note read, for Mr. Carter. Mr. Carter. Miles Carter. My co-founder. My best friend. The man who stood beside me at my wedding. Who toasted us in front of hundreds of guests. I gripped the ticket so hard the paper tore. In the back seat, a small gift box waited. Inside, a necklace. Engraved with our 3 names. A promise that we'd always be together. Now, it was nothing but a cruel joke. Through the rain-streaked glass, I saw Kelly leave her yoga studio. Smiling. Relaxed. She got into her car. I followed. Couldn't help myself. And when she turned into the very street, the one leading to that hotel, my chest collapsed. Every illusion ended. Raindrops outside mixed with the burning lines down my face. I wanted to kick the door open, to storm in, to scream in their faces. But I couldn't move. My hands shook on the wheel, veins bulging, every nerve screaming. And there I sat, in the dark, watching my wife betray me, watching my best friend take my place. The cruelest part? As my heart shattered, my mind whispered something cold. If they dare treat me like this, I'll let them destroy themselves. That night, I walked into my own home, like a stranger. On the fridge, a drawing my son had taped there. 3 smiling figures, hand in hand. I froze, wanting to believe it, but knowing it wasn't true anymore. And in that moment, I realized I hadn't just lost a wife. I'd lost a friend. The double betrayal ripped through me, shredding every last bit of trust I had. And I still don't know what hurt more, losing her or losing him, the man who once stood at my side. As I promised her forever. My name is Graham Ellis, 38 years old. They say, by this age, a man should have it all. A career, a family, stability. From the outside, maybe people thought I was lucky. I had a fast-growing design firm in Boston, a house in the suburbs with flowers blooming out front, and a family of 4, always laughing. By day, I wore sharp suits, stepped out of a polished car. Employees greeted me with respect. I was the director, the calm leader, the man with all the answers. But behind the suit, a single question haunted me. Where's Kelly? What is she really doing? I co-founded my company with Miles Carter, my closest friend since college. We once sat on the floor of a tiny apartment, sketching designs under the dim glow of a desk lamp. Back then, we swore, one day, we'd build a firm with both our names, and we did. Ellis and Carter. I handled the projects. He handled the clients. People said we were a perfect match. Me, quiet and precise. Him, smooth and quick on his feet. I believed no one knew me better than Miles. My mornings always began with a run. I loved the sting of cold air in my lungs, the rhythm of shoes hitting pavement, as if each breath could wash away the pressure. But some mornings, when I passed the street where Miles lived, I'd see a light glowing in his window. A thought would flash. Why is he awake this late? And worse, is Kelly there? I'd shake my head, tell myself I was paranoid, then run faster, to outrun the thought. Back home, I made breakfast. Kelly liked to sleep in. I liked cutting the bread, toasting it, pouring milk for the kids. My 3-year-old daughter would kick her little legs in the high chair, giggle when I set the glass down. My 6-year-old son once asked, Dad, why has Mom gone so much lately? My hand froze on the bread knife. I forced a smile and said, she's exercising, getting stronger, so she can play with you more. I didn't know if I was calming him or lying to myself. Kelly had once been an art teacher, gentle, steady. She was with me through the hardest days. But in recent years, after leaving her job to raise the kids, she found her own pursuits, yoga, evening classes. I told myself it was good, that she was caring for herself. I even joked once, keep this up, You'll look younger by the year. She smiled, kissed my cheek, and hurried out the door. Those nights, I sat in my study. When the door opened, she'd come in, a faint, unfamiliar perfume following her. "How was yoga?" I'd ask. She'd smile, murmur a few words, then disappear into the shower. I never questioned it. Or maybe I didn't dare. Miles began taking sudden business trips, leaving me with stacks of files. "You're gone too much," I complained. "I can't carry all of this alone." He clapped my shoulder, laughed. "Trust me, these contracts will take us further than ever." I nodded, not knowing. His trips lined up perfectly with Kelly's nights away. One evening, I came home early. On the coat rack, a gray jacket, Miles's jacket. Kelly rushed in. He just dropped off documents, then left. I stood there, staring at the coat. Something stirred inside me, but I nodded, said nothing. I told myself, don't be paranoid. This is Kelly. This is Miles. The two people I trusted most. But small pieces were forming a picture I didn't want to face. By day, I kept smiling, signing contracts, talking with staff. I held up the image of Graham Ellis, the calm director, the successful man. But at night, when the house grew quiet, I heard Kelly's footsteps on the stairs, and they felt unfamiliar. I looked at the drawing taped to the fridge. 3 smiling figures, holding hands, and it crushed me. Many nights, I sat alone in my study, opened my journal, wrote a few lines, then scratched them out. I wanted to write that I was happy, but my hand shook, because the lie wouldn't come out, and I grew afraid that one day, the family picture I clung to would live only in this book, not in real life. Someone once asked me, "Didn't you see the signs?" I did, but I chose to believe, because facing the truth would mean losing everything, and I wasn't strong enough. But the truth doesn't vanish just because you fear it. It waits, growing in the dark, and one day, it bursts open, swallowing everything. For me, that day came, sooner than I ever imagined. People think a marriage falls apart with one big shock. But no, it starts small, like a hairline crack in glass. At first, you don't notice. But with every wash, every touch, the crack spreads. Until one night, the glass shatters from nothing more than a gentle tap. For me, that tap came on a Friday night. I left the office late. The hall was dim, only a few lights still on. I walked into the garage, phone in hand, dialing Kelly. The rings went on. No answer. I tried again. Second time. Third. Still nothing. The fourth time, a text. "I'm in yoga class. Instructor doesn't allow phones. I'll call after." It looked normal, but the clock read 9:47 p.m. I froze. Cold spreading through my arms. What yoga class starts at this hour? On the drive home, I turned the wheel a different way. Past the yoga studio Kelly always mentioned. Dark. Closed. Empty. No cars. No one. I stopped. Rolled down the window. Wind rushed in. In the silence, I heard only my heart. Loud. Accusing. I texted, "Are you done?" Half an hour later, she replied, "Just finished. On my way home." "Go to bed first." I knew she was lying. When Kelly walked in, I was waiting in the living room, lamp casting a weak glow. She hesitated, then smiled quickly. "You're still up?" "How was yoga?" I asked, keeping my voice even. "Crowded." "I'm exhausted." I nodded, watched her climb the stairs. Her steps, light. Nothing like someone exhausted. I wanted to ask, "Where were you?" But my throat closed. That night, I lit a cigarette on the balcony. I hadn't smoked in years. The smoke stung my eyes, but not as much as the sting in my chest. I told myself, just once, don't overthink it. But deep down, I knew this was only the beginning. A few days later, I arrived at the office early. The conference room door was cracked open. Blue light spilled from a screen. I heard Miles's voice, low, urgent. "Yeah, this weekend. Don't worry. He doesn't know a thing." I froze. That he. Was it me? I stepped in. Miles jumped, closed his laptop fast, forced a laugh. "Client call. You know how they are. Always in a rush." I nodded, said nothing. But inside, I unraveled. That night, Kelly came home late. I braced myself. But instead, she brought me tea. "You've been working too hard. Drink this. It'll help you sleep." I looked up, met her eyes. For a moment, they were soft, tender, like the early years. My heart faltered. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe she still loved me. But when she turned away, I caught the scent on her coat. Men's cologne, not mine. The cup trembled in my hand. The kindness wasn't love. It was cover. One night, as I tucked in my son, he whispered, "Dad, I saw Mom with Uncle Miles yesterday. They sat in the car a long time. But Mom told me not to tell you." I went still. "Are you sure?" I asked. He nodded. Those clear, innocent eyes stabbed through me. I hugged him tight, swallowed hard. "Thank you. Now sleep, son." After he drifted off, I sat by his bed for hours, the nightlight glowing over his peaceful face. Even a child could see what I kept denying. From then on, I noticed everything. A hotel bill in the mail, a handkerchief in Kelly's car, soaked in cologne that wasn't mine, an email for a dinner reservation for two. On a night, she swore she was at yoga. Each detail, another cut, slicing into my pride. By day, I still smiled, still signed contracts. But at night, I lay beside her, listening to her steady breaths. And it felt like a stranger sleeping next to me. The room, once filled with memories, now pressed down like a cage. The breaking point came one Sunday. I took the kids to the park. Kelly said she had yoga. When I drove back, Miles's car was in my driveway. My pulse pounded. I stopped under a tree. Through the window, I saw them. A touch of the hand, a brief embrace. And Kelly laughed. A laugh I hadn't heard in years. My grip on the wheel was so tight, nails cut my skin. Blood welled. I wanted to burst in, to scream, but my legs stayed frozen. Because I knew, if I opened that door, everything would collapse. I turned away, led the kids inside through the back. "Go to your rooms," I whispered. "Play quietly." They looked at me, confused, but obeyed. I sat in the kitchen, hands shaking, ears ringing with the rush of blood. And I knew I couldn't lie to myself any longer. That night, Kelly slipped into bed, lay beside me. I turned my back, pretended to sleep. But my heart burned. I heard every breath she took, a sound once so familiar, now foreign, cold. I stared into the dark, eyes wide open, lying next to a stranger. And in that moment, I understood. This marriage was cracked far deeper than I ever imagined. And what I had just seen was only the first step into hell's door. They say betrayal is like a sickness. It starts small, a cough, a fever. By the time you notice, your body is already rotting from the inside. My marriage was no different. After the night I saw Kelly and Miles in my house, everything slipped through my fingers, day by day. Breakfast used to be warm, coffee brewing, Kelly cooking, the kids laughing, running around. Now she barely sat down. A quick sip of coffee, a rushed, "I'm busy. You eat without me." Then the door shut, and silence filled the room. My daughter looked up, innocent. "Daddy, why doesn't Mom eat with us anymore?" I smiled. I patted her head. But inside, her words cut like a blade. Kelly changed. New dresses, new perfume, red lipstick she'd never worn before. One night, I leaned on the doorframe. She stood before the mirror, fixing herself. "Where do you go so often?" I asked. She didn't turn around. "Friends. You should go out more too. Don't just live at the office." Her voice was calm, but her eyes in the mirror never touched me. The woman I called my wife was already drifting away. Another night, I came home late. The house was glowing. Dinner set. Candles lit. The kids cheered. "Daddy, Mommy made a party." Kelly smiled. "You work too much." I wanted one proper night together. I sat down. My heart softened. For a moment, I wanted to believe. But when she handed me a glass, her sleeve slipped. A red mark on her arm. A grip. Someone's hand. I froze. She pulled her sleeve down fast, eyes avoiding mine. The tenderness was just makeup over a wound. That night, after the kids slept, I asked, "Kelly, is there something you want to tell me?" She stiffened, then frowned. "What now? I work, I see friends. Do I have to report every detail? I just want to understand why things changed." Her eyes turned cold. "Things didn't change. You did. Always doubting, always watching. I'm tired, Graham." Her words stabbed deep. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. Only the sound of my own heartbeat. Another morning, as I readied the kids for school, Kelly said flatly, "No need. Miles will take them. It's on his way." I froze. Miles, sliding into my role. I wanted to refuse. But my son cheered. Yeah, Uncle Miles is fun. He tells the best stories. I stood there, watched them run to his car. Miles looked at me, smiled, half mocking, half polite. The door shut. Their laughter drove away with him. And I stood alone, hands limp, pride shattered. One night, Kelly said she was seeing old friends. I followed. Her car turned into a hotel. Red neon flashing. I parked far away, hands crushing the wheel. My phone buzzed. A text from Kelly. Running late. Old friends talk too much. Sleep without me. I laughed. Bitter. What kind of friend meets at a hotel? I almost got out. Almost stormed inside. But then, a call. The company. A multi-million-dollar deal waiting for my signature. I had to choose. Expose her. Or protect my career. I chose the phone. Drove away. My heart burned with shame. My mind chained me down. From then on, I became a ghost. By day, I smiled for clients. By night, I drank alone under a yellow lamp. The bottle drained, but the scent of strange cologne on Kelly's clothes never faded. Sometimes I crept into the room while she slept, sat at the edge of the bed, stared at her face. I wanted to shake her awake, to demand the truth, but my throat locked. I was terrified, not of the lies, but of hearing the truth. One night, she came home late, dropped her bag. I sat waiting in the dark. Kelly, I said quietly, we can't go on like this. She froze, then turned on the light, her face calm, cruel in its calmness. She sighed. Graham, you're exhausting. Maybe you should learn to accept it. Accept it. The words rang like a death bell. She walked into the bathroom, closed the door. I stayed behind, nails digging into my palms. Drawing blood, the rope was pulled too tight. And I knew it was only a matter of time before it snapped. There are moments when you wish time would stop, that life would stay the way it once was. For me, that moment was my daughter's birthday. I told myself, no doubts today, no tension, only laughter. I decorated the house, balloons, cake, gifts hidden in the closet. When Kelly came down in a tight red dress, wearing a perfume I didn't recognize, my heart twisted between hope and fear. Maybe, at least today, she'll stay with her family. The party began. Laughter filled the rooms. The kids ran wild, faces glowing. Then, Miles walked in, carrying a big gift, smiling wide. My children screamed with joy. Uncle Miles? They ran to him, wrapped their little arms around him, while I stood by the cake, smiling a hollow smile. Inside, my flesh was on fire. During the song, I watched Kelly, standing beside Miles, laughing, glowing. Her hand brushed his arm. Her lips whispered in his ear. I clenched my fists. My pulse thundered. I wanted to scream, to drag her away, to shatter the lie in front of everyone. But then, my daughter tugged my hand. Daddy, come take a picture with me. Her eyes were so bright, so pure. I forced a smile, stood beside her. And in that photo, I looked like a man happy. But inside, a firestorm raged. When the guests left, Kelly took the kids upstairs. I stayed behind, clearing plates. The smell of wine, the sweetness of cake, suffocating. Miles lingered, opened another bottle. He raised his glass, smirking. You did well, Graham. Great party. His words dripped with mockery. I turned away, carried dishes to the kitchen. When I came back, Kelly's phone was on the table. The screen lit up. A message. From Miles. Tonight. Can you stay? The glass in my hand slipped, shattered across the floor. The sound echoed like thunder. Miles looked at me, smiled. Not like a friend, like a man who had taken everything. Kelly came down, froze at the sight. I held up the phone, my voice raw. How long? The air thickened. Kelly bit her lip. Miles leaned back, poured himself more wine. You already know, Graham. Stop lying to yourself. I stared at Kelly, begging her eyes to deny it. But she only stood there, hands twisting together. And finally, she whispered, I'm sorry. I tried to stop. But every time I saw Miles, I remembered the life I could have had. I couldn't let go. Her words stabbed like knives. I roared. And him? He was my best friend. Kelly broke, tears spilling. She stepped forward, voice trembling. I never meant to betray you. But the youngest child, isn't yours. The world spun. My ears filled with a single echo. The youngest isn't yours. Memories flashed. Kelly gone the night I was away. Miles holding the baby too tenderly. The boy's smile, his eyes, so much like Miles. My knees gave out. I clutched the table, blood dripping from my hand. Kelly sobbed. But her tears meant nothing now. Miles placed his hand on her shoulder, claiming her. I wanted to kill him, to crush his smug face with my fists. But I couldn't move. I was nailed to the floor, shattered. I laughed, broken, bitter. Respect? This is how you respect me? By sleeping with my friend? By letting my child call him father? Kelly screamed. I didn't want this. I tried. But it's done. Graham, please, don't destroy everything in front of the kids. Her words were gasoline. I looked up the stairs. My children, sleeping peacefully, unaware the storm had already ripped their world apart. I don't remember walking out. Only the cold night air hitting my face. I sat in the car, hands locked on the wheel, knuckles white. Outside, the wind screamed. Inside, only one thought burned. Tomorrow, I will not stay silent. The night swallowed me whole. But inside, a fire had begun. And I knew nothing would ever be the same again. That night, after the birthday party, I sat in my car for hours. The city lights burned bright. But inside me, only darkness. Kelly's words echoed. Miles's smirk haunted me. And every time I heard it, the youngest isn't yours. My heart clenched like a fist crushing glass. When dawn broke, I knew. I couldn't run anymore. It was time to face it. I walked back into the house. The air was heavy. Stale coffee, cigarette smoke. Kelly sat there, eyes swollen, bathrobe tied loose. She looked at me, mouth trembling, but silent. Only the clock ticked, loud, relentless. I set my keys on the table. My voice cracked. We talk. Now. She nodded, fingers gripping her cup as if it could shatter. A moment later, Miles arrived. He strolled in like he owned the place, dropped his coat, sat down, his eyes daring me. The living room became a battlefield. I turned to Kelly, every word a blade. Do you even want to keep this family? Her head dropped. Her voice broke. I still need you, Graham. I need you for the children. But I can't leave Miles. I tried. But with him, I feel alive. I can breathe. I hate myself for it, but I can't stop. Her confession stabbed again and again. I laughed. Bitter. Broken. That's your love? Sleeping with my friend? Making me raise a child that isn't mine? Kelly crumbled, hands over her face. Miles leaned forward, voice calm, cruel. Can't you see, Graham? Holding her only makes us all suffer. She belongs to me. My hand slammed the table. The cup shattered on the floor. We froze in the silence. Even the clock seemed to stop. I stepped closer to Miles, my chest heaving. You've taken everything, but you'll never take my children. Do you hear me? We stared each other down. One heartbeat. Two. My fist nearly rose. But then, my children's faces flashed in my mind. I lowered my hand, but my eyes still burned with fire. Kelly rushed forward, clutching my arm. Please, Graham, don't let this destroy us. The kids need both parents. I know I've failed you. I know I'm weak. But give me one more chance. I pulled free, my throat tight. Chance? After all the lies? After letting me sleep beside a secret the whole world knew but me? What chance is left? She collapsed into the chair, sobbing. Miles stood, put his arm around her. But I saw it. His hand trembled too. I looked at them, for a long time. And for the first time, I saw it clearly. There was nothing left to save. My voice came heavy, final. I can't do this. We're getting divorced. Kelly shot up. Her scream cracked through the room. No, you can't. The children will be ruined. I met her eyes. Cold. Steady. The children won't be ruined. They'll still have a father. But they won't grow up watching their mother betray him in this house. I won't let them grow up in lies. Miles smirked, but said nothing. I packed. The old suitcase rattled across the floorboards. When I zipped it shut, my daughter ran down, wrapped her arms around my leg, shoved her teddy bear into my hand. Daddy, take this, so you'll remember me. My son hurried over, stuffed my worn jacket into the case, his eyes pleading. I hugged them, tight, my voice breaking. I will always be here, maybe not in this house, but I will never leave you. Behind me, Kelly's voice trembled. Graham? I didn't turn. If I did, I wouldn't leave. The suitcase scraped the steps, every footfall heavy as stone. I climbed into the car. The engine roared. In the mirror, The little house faded. With it, the woman who had once been my whole world. But this time, I wasn't silent. In my chest, a new resolve burned. I may lose my wife. I may lose my friend. But I will not lose myself. And I will never lose my children. The wheels turned, carrying me away. From the past, into whatever comes next. I left that house, with nothing but an old suitcase. Inside, a few shirts, a pair of worn shoes. But when I opened it, in the small rented room, I found something else. A scrap of paper, scrawled in pencil. My daughter's handwriting. "Daddy, don't go too far. I love you." Just a few words. But they crushed me. I sank to the floor, the paper trembling in my hands. And the tears came, unstoppable. I realized, even if my world had collapsed, 2 children still saw me as their whole world. The first nights were brutal. The silence so thick, I could hear the hum of cars on the freeway. No laughter, no smell of dinner, only emptiness. I once thought silence was peace. Now it felt like a sentence. Endless. Many times, my hand hovered over the phone. One button, and I'd hear Kelly's voice. But then, I'd see Miles's arm around her again, and I'd put the phone down. Going back would only mean betraying myself one more time. So I wrote, every morning, just one line. "I am still a father." The shaky words kept me from falling apart. I started running again, every step heavy but alive. I learned to cook. The first pot of rice burned black as coal. But at least I was trying. At least I was still here. Every night I called my children. They laughed, they argued, they told me stories. Sometimes they fought over who got to speak first. One night my son whispered, "Dad, today I slipped. I called Miles Dad, but I don't want to. I only have one dad." I froze. Tears stung my eyes. I gripped the phone, whispering back, "Yes, you have only one father, and I will always be him." Some nights I missed Kelly. The way she looked that first time we held hands by the ocean. I missed Miles, the friend who once sat with me till dawn, sharing secrets. But memories, no matter how beautiful, are still the past. I couldn't keep living inside a house already burned down. So I learned to let go, not with bitterness, because hate is just another prison, and I wanted out. One afternoon, I took my children walking by the river. They ran ahead, laughing, their shadows dancing on the water. My daughter came back, pressed a lollipop into my hand. "Here, Daddy, for you, so it won't be bitter." I smiled, for the first time in months, a real smile. And in that moment, I knew. I may have lost a wife. I may have lost a friend. But I had not lost myself. And I would never lose my children. So if you, a man, a father, a broken heart, are watching this tonight, I want you to know something. You are not alone. You may have lost someone, a home, your trust. But you have not lost everything. As long as you still have yourself, as long as you hold love for your children, you have enough to rise again, to take the next step. The sunset spread across the river. I held my children's hands. We walked, slow and steady. The sun sank behind the trees, but I knew tomorrow it would rise again. And so would I.